Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Still, we are having only 6 or 7 people. Uh, so, till they come, shall we have a small discussion on what is happening? What about not the subject matter? I mean, how is your area, respective areas? Pavitra, where do you stay, Pavitra? Hello. Christy? There are a few people like Christy, Dilan, Nimesha.
Sir,
Huh? Christy, where do you
sir,
stay?
I'm from Baralla, sir.
You're from?
Baralla.
I'm sorry, I didn't get you.
I'm from Baralla.
Borelle?
Yeah.
Yeah, close by. Right. If you want, you can come here and join the class. Close by. uh, right. I think I was just waiting for the. I thought there will be another notification on Borelle also. Dematagoda, Mardana, all close. Only Borelle is there. ඔයගලගේ බැංක්ස් වල ඔයගොල්ලෝ වැඩ කරන්නේ කොහොමද? ඔය ගෙදරින් ඉඳන් කරනවද? You are working from home or you are going to offices? Huh? You are going to offices or you are working from home?
No, sir, we are going to office.
Huh?
We are going to the office.
You are going to office.
Yes, sir.
Right. No issues, huh? What's the bank, Christy?
Pan Asia, sir.
Pan Asia. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Bank of Sri Lanka, a lot of branches have been closed down. About 47 branches or something. In time to come, I don't know what's going to happen. Right. Let's see. Now, our one also, I'm just thinking till some more people come. I mean, one by one are joining. And now it's enough. I think we can start if you want. I will do about another 2 or 3 classes. There are certain things which I have to discuss with you. And some more new areas which I want to discuss with you, because with this COVID one and all, even though earlier it was not there in the syllabus, next year I'm going to put it to the syllabus. So with that, I thought at least to discuss those things with you. It will be very, very useful to you regarding the recent import-export controls. I think that will be very handy for you people, whether you are doing trade finance or any other business. It will be very, very, very useful to you regarding the recent developments. Mainly due to Corona, there were certain developments, and before that also, regarding some importations and exports, there were some issues. There were some controls. So we will discuss about those things also. Okay, then we'll start the class. Give me 1 minute. Hello. Okay, class again. I'll be finishing at 5 o'clock. Right. today I'm going to discuss with you. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Today I'm going to discuss with you about the effective management and monitoring of international trade operations of Sri Lanka by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Now we all know Central Bank is the bankers, bank of the banks, bank of the banks, right? So, and that's the authority who will come up with a lot of rules and regulations and controls regarding most of the economic areas. Now, international trade is also a very, very important aspect in any country. So, therefore, that will directly affect international trade, not like any other thing. International trade directly affect to a country's balance of payment. Now, because of that, central bank will play a major role in international trade operations by introducing a lot of controls to govern these operations, right? So, other than that, I'm not going to do I'm not going to cover the entire central bank because that is not there in the syllabus. But how central bank controls international trade operations in a country is the one we are concerned. That's a one we are focusing, right? Now, before that, if you talk about the central bank of Sri Lanka, earlier it was known as Central Bank of Ceylon because Sri Lanka was known as Ceylon, right? When it became Sri Lanka, which year?
1985.
Now, 1985, Central Bank has, you saw this thing. I'm talking about the country. Country from Ceylon to Sri Lanka. It was changing when? Ceylon was changed into Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. Which year? 1972. 1972, right? So Central Bank of Ceylon was established by the Monetary Act number 58 of 1949, and it started its operation in 1950, right? It was renamed as the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, CBSL, in 1985, right? Now, when we talk about the objectives of Central Bank of Sri Lanka, yeah, we can classify it under two main headings. The objectives. One objective of Central Bank of Sri Lanka is maintaining economic and price stability. Maintaining economic and price stability. That is one of the key areas, key objective of Central Bank. What do you mean by price stability? Price stability is a situation where there are no wide fluctuation in the general price level in the economy. That is conducive for sustainable economic growth. If the prices are going up and down every day, then there's no price stability, right? So in a scenario like that, central bank will propose certain controls, and it will be implemented by Minister of Finance and the treasury. Right? Various things are coming up. Now, for example, recently, now this particular subject, I want everybody, all of you, because you are very familiar with this day-to-day operations, right? New things, and I think you should contribute your 2 cents also to the discussion we are going to have today, right? Recently also, Minister of Finance has introduced certain controls to control the price stability. What's the reason for it? About 2 weeks back, prices of certain commodities, they put restrictions, right? Be onions, sugar, canned fish, and all. They said this is the maximum price you can sell. You know that, no? Last 2 weeks. So time to time, government get involved. Right? The other one is maintaining financial system stability. Financial system stability. Financial system stability means a safe and secure financial system which is able to withstand external and internal shocks. Very important in these days. A lot of countries, one of the leading and countries like America, Germany, Italy, India, even India for that instance, China, right, Japan, all have faced this issue of the financial system stability, especially US and UK, right? So because the external shocks these days, what is happening? What is the external shock we all are having? What is the external shock we all are having? Nowadays?
The corona pandemic.
Yeah, corona pandemic. Corona pandemic, right? So because of the corona pandemic, most of the countries are in a shambles, their financial systems, right? So this is one of the things, one of the objectives of the central bank, to maintain financial system stability, right? And another thing the central bank does is the attainment of central bank's objective is vital, promote the development of productive resources of the country. Productive resources of the country. That also we have to develop, right? So all those things are going hand in hand. Now we'll see what are the co-functions of the central bank. Co-functions of the central bank. If I put it in a nutshell, right? Maintaining economic and price stability. How they are going to do it? Maintaining economic and price stability. One is conducting monetary policies. Conducting monetary policies. Then conducting exchange rate policies. Exchange rate policies are being conducted by central bank. They are the people who announce the exchange rate on a daily basis, right? And they are the people who announce the maximum lending rates and the deposit rates, right? Management of the official international reserves of Sri Lanka. We all have to have, in a country, should have uh, um, external resources, right? Official resources, international resources. So maintaining that also is going to be one of the core functions of central bank to maintain economic and price stability, right? If you talk about the official international reserves of Sri Lanka, today I am asking you a lot of common sense questions, right? At the moment, our dollar resources, dollar reserves of Sri Lanka is sufficient to the country for how many months? For how many months, roughly? Roughly how many months? Oh, Tanada. Tanada. It's sufficient for 3 or maximum 3.5 months. We are in a very tight situation, right? Then central bank will be acting as an economic advisor, banker, and fiscal agent of the government, right? The government bank is central bank. Compilation and dissemination of economic data and statistics. That's also another core function of central bank, right? Economic compiling of economic data. Time to time, their statistics department, it will be compiled by their statistics department. All the data, normally all commercial banks send the data to central bank and they compile and then advise the government and the treasury to whatever the action they have to take, right? Then maintaining financial system stability. How? How they are going to maintain the financial system stability? By surveillance of financial system stability. They have to closely monitor licensing, regulation, and supervision of financial institutions. Licensing, regulation, and supervision of financial institutions. That comes, give me some examples. Some institutions, some examples. කතාන පුතේ අපි දැන් මේක ඔගොල්ලෝ දන්න දේවල්නේ. Especially as bankers, you should know.
All licensed commercial banks.
All licensed commercial bank, very good. Then, what else? What else?
Finance companies under Finance Act.
All licensed finance companies. Finance companies also, there are two categories. One category, they are they have been allowed to take deposits from the public. Some are not allowed to take deposits from the public, right? For example, LOLC, HNB Finance, and all, they can take deposit from the public, right? But some companies like asset line leasing, those are leasing companies. They are not allowed to take public money, no public deposits, right? And whatever the regulations, central bank will implement. They have a special branch for non-banking supervision department also. Okay. Then provision of clearing and settlement facilities to financial institutions through settlement accounts with the central bank. Clearing and settlement facility is another core area where they can maintain financial system stability. Apart from these two major functions, there's another function they do, that is issuing of currency and coins. Issuing of currency and coins. That also done by the central bank. Right? That is ancillary to core function. Agency functions of central bank, if you talk about the agency functions of the central bank, agency functions on behalf of the government. They have the public debt management, so they manage the entire public debt of the country, right? Then foreign exchange management, they have foreign exchange management department, right? Regional development, countries' regional development, also managed by central bank. Another important area is employees provident fund, EPF management. That also done by central bank, right? A lot of people doesn't know that central bank is involved, but EPF, employees provident fund, is managed by central bank, right? And this is where they invest the EPF money, our EPF money, in different investment areas, right? They buy shares of the companies, blue chip companies, and try to maximize the profit, because once they maximize the profit, they can give a better dividend to the customers. More interest on their EPF balances, right? Then financial intelligence unit, it was recently started in 2006, FIU unit, right? Under the regulations of anti-money laundering and combating financing of terrorism, CFT and AML. The instruments available to achieve these objectives are statutory reserve ratio. What do you mean by statutory reserve ratio? Any commercial bank, they have to keep certain money, of the deposits as a reserve. Api banking part 1 කරද්දී අපි ඉගෙන ගන්නවා බැංකු මුදල් මවනවා කියලා. බැංකු මුදල් මවනවා කියලා අපි කියන්නේ they are generating money. නිකම්ම නිකන් මවන්නේ නැහැ. දෙයියෝ මවන්නා වගේ මවන්න බෑ. කොහොමද මවන්නේ? From the deposits what they are collecting from the customers, they give loans and credit facilities to customers, and then they earn a bigger rate, and they pay a lesser rate to the depositors, right? හැබැයි ඔහොම ගිහිල්ලා අපි වෙලාවක හරි අපි loans දුන්නේවද මේ වගේ කොවිඩ් වගේ කාලෙකදී දීපු loans cover කරගන්න බෑ. මිනිස්සුන්ට job නැහැ, business නැහැ. companies වැහෙනවා. එතකොට loans ටික cover කරගන්න බෑ. එතකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? කතා කරන්න ඔයගලගේ experience. I'm talking about the COVID era. Everybody has some experience. ඉතින් මේකෙන්ද අපි පොඩ්ඩක් කතා කරමු අපි. මොකද වෙන්නේ? මෙන්න මේ සයිලන්ස් නම් මට එච්චර අල්ලන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් ඉතින් මට නම් ටික කියන්න වෙනවා. ෂෙනාලි පෙනි පොඩ්ඩක් කතා කරලා බලන්න. පෙනි ආයුධය?
Yes, sir.
Yes sir. මම ආව රෙකමන්ඩ් කරලා තියෙනවා. බැංක් එකට අවිෂෝක් කියලා. ඔයාලගේ ඒජන්ට් එකත් කිව්වා. මුදල් ළමයෙක් කියලා. ඉතින් ඒතර ඒවට දැන් කියන්න. කතා කරනකොට. right? අපි ඔක්කොම ක්‍රෑෂ් වුණොත් මොකද කරන්නේ? දැන් ක්‍රෑෂ් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ක්‍රෑෂ් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ දැන්. දැන් මොනවද අපි කරන සිටුේෂන් එක දැන්? දැන් ඔහොම ගියොත් බැංක්ස් වැටෙනවනේ. ඒතර දැන් අපිට මොකද්ද අපි දැන් කියන්න බෑනේ දැන් මේ ක්‍රෑෂ් වෙනකොට අපි මොකද කරලා තියෙන්නේ දැන් එක මේ වචනයක් තියෙනවා මම ඒ වචන නැත්නම් කියම මේ කරගෙන්නේ. මේ දවස්වල කොහොම කට්ටිය වැඩ නවත්තලා කරන්නේ ඒක. ලෝන්ස් දෙන එක නවත්තලා කරන්නේ මොනවද කරන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ? ඈ?
Moratorium this. Moratorium.
මට අයිතියෙන් කියන්න බෑ.
නෑ loans අර මේ extend කරන එක සර් moratorium නේද?
Oh, moratorium. Yes, very good. Yes, moratorium. Moratorium check කරනවා අනේක යා rescheduling the loans නේ. payments को reschedule කරනවා. loans reschedule කර moratorium එකක් හදනවා. සමහර ඒවා අපිට කපලා දාන්නත් වෙනවා. ඒ අන්තන් බේර ගන්න. නමුත් දැන් බැංක්ස් වල හොඳටම rates දැන් එන්න අඩු වෙගෙන යනවා. ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකෙන් දැන් කියනවා to give at 4%, 5%. කොහොමද දෙන්නේ? If you give FDs at 5.5, 6, how can you give loans at 4%? නේ? ඕවනේ issues ලා තියෙන අපිට දැන්. දැන් අපි මේ අල්ලගෙන දඟලන්නේ ඔය issues ටික තමයි අපි හිර වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒක නවත්තන්න තමයි every bank, commercial bank is required to keep a cash deposit with central bank. We call it statutory reserve ratio. And normally, time to time, central bank changes this ratio. 5 billion තිබ්බනම් ඒගොල්ලෝ එකපාරට කියනවා 10 billion. තමයි මම දැන් අවුරුදු 3-4 ගෙනන් කිව්වා හැම අවුරුද්දකම 5 billion ගානේ වැඩි කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා. එතකොට අපි ඒ කෑල්ල පැත්තකින් තිබ්බනම් මොකද වෙන්නේ? කෑෂ් ඩිපොසිට් එක හැටියට අයින් කරා මොකද වෙන්නේ? මම ආස නැහැ මේ කතා කරන්න මේකේ ඕගොල්ලන්ගෙන් අරගෙන යන්නේ මම පුළුවන් තරම් මේ ඩිස්කෂන් එක. අපි ගෙඩිය පිටින්ම අයින් කරලා තියෙනවා. රිසර්ව් රේෂියෝස් රිසර්ව් එකේ දාලා statutory reserve is 5 billion, 10 billion, then 15 billion, 5 billion වලින් වැඩි වෙනවා. each year they said you have to increase. මොකද වෙන්නේ එතකොට?
ලෝන් දෙන්න සල්ලි මදි වෙනවා.
මොකද්ද control වෙන්නේ?
ලෝන් දෙන්න පුළුවන් කැපැසිටි එක සර්.
loans දවා කිව්වේ. මට ඇහුනේ විදිහට loans ගැනද කතා කළේ.
ඔව් සර්.
right, okay. ඒක හරි ඉතින්. බය නැතුව කතා කරන්න. උත්තරේ හරි. හරි. එතකොට මේ ණය දෙන එකේ හැකියාව අඩු වෙනවා. It's automatically getting control. Right? Because you are compelled to keep a cash reserve with the central bank. Then your ability to lend is getting curtailed. Right? So this is what is happening. Then commercial banks are required to maintain reserves with central bank at rates determined by the bank. At present, demand, time, and savings deposits of commercial banks denominated in rupee terms are subject to the SRR, statutory reserve ratio, right? And they say, okay, you can deposit, you can keep cash deposits with us, you can keep cash deposits with central bank. For that, we will pay you this amount. We will pay you this amount. Regular to them 5% කියලා. එතන අපි cash වල අපිට regular තියෙන 5%. Then automatically මේ SRR rate එක control කරනවා අපේ deposits and lending rates. Right? Indirectly, it can control. Then bank rate. The rate at which the central bank provides credit to commercial bank. That what you call bank rate. The central bank is a last resort for lending. Whenever a bank wants some money, they can borrow from any bank. Right? Normally they won't borrow from any financial institutions. They borrow from interbank borrowings. Yes, it's happening, interbank borrowing. But the final borrower, final lender is none other than the central bank. So central bank will, when they are lending, they will say, okay, we lend you at 10%. Central Bank, Sri Lanka, CBS. Right? Lending rate. $10%. The 10% කියලා ආවට පස්සේ Central Bank අපිට මුකුත් කියන්නේ නැහැ. අපිට නොකිය අපිට කන්ට්‍රෝල් එකක් දාලා තියෙනවා. එහෙනම් අපිට ඊට වැඩි දෙන්න බෑ. ඊට වැඩි දෙන්න බෑ. අපි නම් ඊට අඩුවෙන් දීලා තමයි අපි මේ වෙන්න ඕනේ. Right? These are collateralized by assets which are acceptable to monetary board. Right? Usually a penalty rate which is higher than other market rate and is termed as lender of last resort rate at which emergency loans are provided to banks. Right? So if a bank really wants some emergency loans, central bank will provide, but with a higher rate. Right? As a lender of last resort. Then another one is policy interest rates and open market operations. Policy interest rates and open market operations. At present, the central bank conducts its monetary policy under a system of active open market operations, OMOs. Right? Policy interest rates are the main instrument to achieve the intended inflation path. That is policy interest rate. The standing deposit facility rate, commonly the repurchase rate, and standing lending facility rate, commonly the reverse repurchase rate. Right? OMO are conducted either to absorb liquidity if there is excess liquidity or to inject if there is shortage of liquidity in the financial market, and thereby to maintain the stability in the overnight they go through the financials, and if they see the market needs some money to be injected, right? Then they release certain money to the market, right? If the liquidity is high, if the liquidity is high liquidity in the market, then they have another tools to absorb the excess liquidity. Right? OMOs are conducted through auctions to buy, sell government securities on a permanent or a temporary basis. They are conducted through primary dealers, purchase of bonds, increase money supply, sale of bonds, decrease money supply. The bond market that will be a controversial thing, right? But you all know what is a famous bond scam, right? We all know what had happened in 2015, right? And likewise, open market operations is whenever they want to increase the money supply, they purchase bonds. Otherwise, central bank will sell bonds and request the banks to buy them. They are compelling banks. Option you have to do it. You have to buy. And central bank will be selling the bonds. Right? When you buy, then more and more of your money will go into central bank. That means the money supply, money circulation in the market will get curtailed. Right? That way, these open market operations, they control the stability. Then quantitative credit restrictions. Quantitative credit restrictions. Depending on the need and circumstances in the economy, the central bank can use foreign exchange operations, quantitative restrictions on credit, ceilings on interest rate, refinance facilities, certain macro prudential measures, such as imposing margin requirements and loan-to-value ratios for the purpose of monetary management. How they are doing it? They do it in a quantitative method. They select certain areas and then they impose restrictions. Right? Ceiling on interest rate, refinance facilities, certain macro-prudential measures, such as imposing margin requirements. Now, again, one example. Can somebody give me an example? Few months back, about 1 year back, another way. About 1 year back. About 1 year back, තමයි මොකද සද්ද නැත්තේ. දන්නේ නැද්ද? The මේ වගේ areas ගොඩක්, if you read papers, if you listen to business evaluation in TV, right? IT එකේම හොඳ programs යනවා. උපායන other programs යනවා. දෙවෙනි නෝ බලනවා වගේ නෙමෙයි. සංගීතය බලනවා වගේ නෙමෙයි. ඔය වගේ programs බලන්න ඕන. බලලා උඩට හදා ගන්න ඕන. Quantitative trade restrictions. Not as a whole. Certain areas. They put restrictions. මොනවාද? Now talk about international trade areas. මේ ඔබට දන්න දේවල්. මම එංගෙන් ගන්න විතරයි ආදන්නේ.
The maximum amount you can give for loans, ඒ කියන්නේ around say for an example vehicle loan එකක් ගන්නවා නම් loan to value ratio එක for used vehicles කොහොමද electric vehicles
ඒ කියනවා loan to value ratios නේ loan to value LTV ratios අපි මේ කලන්නේ 75%
yes 50% 90% for electric vehicles එහෙමනේ
ඒවා දුන්නා ඒක very good right තව එකක්
so credit cards වලට දාන interest rate for credit cards they have maximum rates that's also for ceiling on interest rate
credit card එක තව මම මේක බලන්නේ මේ international trade part එකේ
import restrictions
අපද
import restrictions
කියනවා
then so then සමහර import කරන්න restrictions දාලා තියෙනවනේ දැන් import කරන්න
ඕගොල්ලෝ මේව දන්නවා හොඳට
so margin requirement
ඕගොල්ලෝ මේ අන්තම් කියා ගන්න බැරුව දඟලන්නේ
margin requirement sir
අන්න හරි ඔය ඔක තමයි අහන්නේ මොනවාද margin requirements ආවේ
for the vehicles 200%
vehicles වලට ආව නේද
200% and 100%
මේ අද කරන පාඩම අදින් පස්සේ අයි පාඩම් කරන්න තියාගන්න එපා පාඩම් ගන්න තියෙන ඕගොල්ලන්ට you have URC UCP ISBP URR IS what the ISP 95 ඔය මන්ද තියෙනේ කටපාඩම් කරන්න මේ වගේ ඒවා මේ areas පාඩම් ගන්න එපා මාත් එක්ක කතා කරලා මේ වගේ ආගියු කරලා එතනින් හට ඔලියෙන් අයින් කර ගන්න ඕන ඔලියෙන් අයින් කර ගන්න නෙමෙයි ඔලිය තියා ගන්න ඕන ඔය පාඩම් කර කර පෙරලා පෙර පොත් බල බල ආපෝ කියවන්න දෙයක් නැහැ හිතලා මේක කර ගන්න ඕන හැමදෙස්සෙම එක්සෑම් එකේදී පාඩම් කරන්න ඕනේ ඒවායි පාඩම් කරන්න නැති ඒවායි ගන්න දැන් පාඩම් නොකරන ඒවා questions එනවා එවනුත් questions එනවා එතකොට ඒවා ආන්සර් කරගන්න පුළුවන් වෙනවා හැබැයි පාඩම් නොකර that's how I am doing I am telling you my experience right when I was doing exams while working in the bank and doing internal campaign එකේ internal ගිහිල්ලා මේක බොරුව මේ වැඩ කරනවා කියලා නොකිය අපි එහෙම තමයි අපි ඉගෙන ගත්තේ බොහොම අමාරුවෙන් ඒකට දුවලා මෙහෙට දුවලා රැය වෙනකම් බැංක් එකේ වැඩ කරලා ඇවිල්ලා ඕ ටයිම් දාන්නේ නැතුව ඕ ටයිම් මේ වැඩ කරලා ඉතින් පාඩම් ගන්න කාලයක් නැහැනේ ඉතින් සමහර ඒවා අපි ඔළුවට අරගෙන එතනින් එහාට දානවා ලියනකොට ලියන පිටු ගන්න අර පුතා එක පුතෙක් කිව්වා මට දැන් මම දන්නේ නම මොකද්ද කියලා එයා කිව්ව එක හරියටම හරි මාර්ජින් රික්වයර්මන්ට් එකක් ආවා එකපාරට මේ vehicles වලට නේ ෆැසිලිටි එකකටත් අරින්න බෑනේ LC ෆැසිලිටි එකකටත් vehicles අරින්න බැරි මාර්ජින්ස් තියන්න ඕනේ ඊට පස්සේ ඒකේ මාර්ජින් රික්වයර්මන්ට්ස් එක අයින් කළා තවත් ආව මාර්ජින් රික්වයර්මන්ට්ස් vehicles විතර නෙමෙයි තමනට දාවේ. තව මොනවටද දාවේ අපි?
non-essential items වගේ electric items,
Yeah.
electrical items,
Yes, non-essential luxury items කියලා නේද?
luxury items. Oh,
මොනවා වගේවද මේ ACs, refrigerators, washing machines, ඒ වගේම සපත්තුත් ආවා. Sports shoes එහෙම නේද? Sports shoes ඒ වගේ දේවල් ඇවිල්ලා කිව්වා ඒවා non essential. ඒවට දැම්ම restrictions. margin requirement එකක් දැම්මා. ඒතර මිනිස්සු cash දාන්න ඕන. cash දානවා කියන මොකද වෙන්නේ? customer ට. There is an opportunity cost for the customer. Right? ඉතින් ඒ වගේ අපි controls මේගොල්ලෝ දානවා. Right. හැබැයි ඒක wholesale දාන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් උනත් දාලා තියෙන්නේ wholesale නෙමෙයි. Have they stopped entire imports? Have the government stopped entire imports?
no sir.
No, they have issued the circulars under temporary suspended and again requisition දෙකකට කඩලා තියෙනවා sir. ඒ කියන්නේ AB schedules දෙකක් දීලා තියෙනවා sir.
Schedules දෙකක් දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒ schedules වලින් අපිට එක schedule එකේ මේවා කරන්න ඕන, මේවට මේවා තියන්න ඕන, මේවට margins තියන්න ඕන, මේවට මෙච්චර තියන්න ඕන. ඒවා තියලා ඊට පස්සේ අනිත් ඒවාට ගේන්න පුළුවන්. නේද? අනිත් ඒවා ගේන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ ගේන්න පුළුවන් ඒවා තියෙනවා. right? ඒතර ඒ වගේ quantitative restrictions දානවා. Then balance of payment and external sector performance. Balance of payment and external sector performance. Number 1. What is balance of payment? Balance of payment, BOP, is a statement that summarizes economic transactions between the residents and non-residents during a specific time period. Right? Balance of payment is a statement that summarizes economic transactions between residents and non-residents during a specific period. The balance of payment එක අපි කරන්නේ for a specific period, right? And BOP is compiled on quarterly and annually basis. Normally balance of payment එක අපි quarterly basis තමයි හදන්නේ. Quarterly basis කරලා ඊට පස්සේ annually we publish, right? Sri Lanka compiles balance of payment using the IMF's balance of payment manual 6th edition from 2012 onwards, right? That may just for your information. IMF has given certain guidelines, balance of payment manual 6th edition, BPM 6. A BPM 6 එක හැටියට තමයි අපි balance of payment එක compile කරන්නේ central bank. Right? Internal balance. Internal balance means maintaining full employment and price stability in the domestic economy while achieving economic growth. That is internal balance. Maintaining full employment and price stability in the domestic economy. Employment level very important that in any economy, in a balance of payment of any country, employment ratios and unemployment ratios plays a major role, right? Why? Then ගොඩක් අහනවා why කියනකොට මොනවද හිතන්නේ? If a lot of people are employed, if the country's majority are employed, is it good for the country or bad for the country?
Good for the country.
Huh?
Good.
It is is good for the country. It is good for the country. Unemployment ratio එක වැඩි වෙන මොකද වෙන්නේ? That's bad for the country. BOP එකට හොඳටම effect කරනවා. දැන් USA වල එහෙම unemployment ratios දැන් එන්න වැඩි වෙලා යනවා. එන්න වැඩි වෙලා යනවා. Unemployment ratios වැඩි වෙනවා කියන්නේ මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ? රස්සාවක් නැති මිනිස්සු ගොඩක් වැඩි වෙනවා. රස්සාවක් නැති මිනිස්සු ගොඩක් වැඩි වුණාම මොකද වෙන්නේ?
economic unrest
Economic
unrest
කියනවා. තව එකක් පුතේ. In a government point of view,
recession එකක තියෙන මිනිස්සුන්ට purchase කරන්න ඉඩකුත් නැහැ. ඒක demand වැඩි.
recession එකක් එනවා. ඒකම තවත් එනවා අර unemployed කට්ටිය බලා ගන්න ආණ්ඩුවට තව කීයක් හරි වියදම් කරන්නත් වෙනවනේ. They have to spend because they have to spend something because they are not any productive anymore. No more productive. They are not producing anything. I think because of that, the government has to spend money on those people. Right? I think අපේ economic ගොඩක් මේ වෙනවා. unemployment එක ගොඩක් වෙනවා. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් රටක economic අපේ BOP එක නග ගන්න නම් employment ratio එක පොඩ වැඩි වෙලා තියෙනවා. External balances, maintaining a strong BOP position without prolonged deficit in the current account and maintaining an exchange rate without excessive volatility. මේක ගලපන්න බලන්න අපේ present situation එකට. ඒ sentence එක කියවලා ආයිසර අපේ present situation එකට ගලපලා මට කියන්න බලන්න උත්තරේ. ලංකාවේ external balance එක මොනවද දැන් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? අපි අමාරු වැටලා තියෙන්නේ මොකද? Right? There's a deficit in the current account. ඒකත් අපිට වෙලා තියෙනවා. And we are not maintaining an exchange rate without excessive volatility. Our exchange rates are volatile, going up and down, right? So we are in a very precarious situation as a country. Can you remember about few months back, about 180, 185, 188, 190, 92, 95 විතර ගන්න නැගලා දැන් ආපහු සරක් බස්සලා ගත්තානේ. right? So, highly volatile. වෙන්න පුළුවන් පොඩි ගානක්. නැත්තම් ගොඩක් දැන් හුඟක් රටවල සමහර රටවල rate එක change වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Like Dubai and all. I mean, it's not changing. Major component of balance of payment. Major component of balance of payment. One is current account, the capital account, right? Then financial account and errors and omissions. Errors and omissions are also a part and parcel of balance of payments, right? Current and capital accounts. පොඩ්ඩක් බලන්න මේකේ කොහොමද වෙන්නේ කියලා. මේ chart එකක් වගේ දීලා තිනවා. මේක කියවලා බලන්න. Trade accounts කියන්නේ in a balance of payment. I'm discussing very simple method, right? Very simple way. I'm not using big terms, big words or anything. I just want you to get some idea about the balance of payment situation of a country and all. And if you want to answer the question, you should be able to do it without any problem. මම ඒ ගානට විතරයි මම යන්නේ. ලොකු economic analysis එකකට degree level එකට මම යන්නේ නැහැ. Right? Now trade account when it comes to trade account, there are two components in the trade accounts. One is goods exports, other one is goods imports. Now the trade account balance is equals to goods export minus goods imports, the monetary value. In Sri Lanka, what do you think about the trade account? Is it in red or black?
Red.
Red.
It is red. Nikan red නෙමෙයි dark red. Right? Actually it's red. Why it is in red? Why it is in red?
Because our import is greater than exports.
Huh?
Import is more than exports.
Yeah, our imports are always more than exports. Right? මොකද දැක්කා ඔබේ කාලේ 2019 වලදී ඔය ඉලෙක්ෂන් කාලේම ඔය අපේ ඒතකොට හිටපු ආණ්ඩුවේ කට්ටිය ඇමතුමේ අගමැතිතුමායම මීටින්ග්ස් වල කියනවා. right? අපේ මේවා මොනවාද මේ exports, we have increased scale. We have increased the exports by 11%, 12%. කියලා කියනවා. අපේ මිනිස්සු ස්ටේජ් එකේ යටින් ඉන්න මිනිස්සු විසිල්ලයක් ගහලා බල්ටියක් ගහලා හරි ජොලි. ලොක්කා වැඩේ දීලානේ ගන්න. Right? But the figures he is talking about is the volumes or monetary value.
monetary value.
They are talking about monetary value. They are talking about monetary value. So monetary value වැඩි වෙන්නකොට මේ වෙනවා. දැන් මට මතකයි 2018 වල අපේ 10.7% තිබුණ exports, right? ඒකේ monetary value එක නැගලා දුනා 10.9%. 10.9 හරි 11.1 හරි ඔන්න ගානකට නැගලා තියෙනවා. කොහොමද ඉන්ක්‍රීස් එකක් තිබුණා. ඒක නැගලා තියෙන කොහොමද? අර 140 වලට 145 වලට තිබුණ රුපිය එක පාටම ඉලෙක්ට්‍රිසිටිලා ගියා 175 180 වලට. ඒක වුණාම මේක නැගලා තියෙනවා. right? හැබැයි actual goods volume ගත්තා නම් this has come down. This has come down. Volumes වලින් බහැලා value එකකින් නැගලා. right? මේක නම් කොහොම ගියත් අපේ trade account always in red. The last time I can remember is 1953, 54, 55. ඒ කාලේ අපේ තිබුණා in black and very positive trade balance. Our imports were lower than the exports. Right? Our imports were lower than the exports. We had a very good market for rubber and rice, which we have exported quite a lot to countries like Korea and all, right? And we have earned quite a lot. හැබැයි ඒ කාලේ ඉඳන් ඊගාට නැති වුණා. මේවා ඔයගලන් දන්නවද දන්නේ නැහැ. ඔයගලන්ගේ දෙමෝපියන්ගෙන් ගිහලා ඇහුවනම් ඒගොල්ලෝ කියාවේ සමහරට මට මතකයි ක්ලාස් එකේ එක්කෙනෙක්වත් මම හිතන්නේ මගේ වයසට නැහැ නේ කෙනෙක්වත්. ඉතින් මමත් පොඩි කාලේ නම් මං මේවා ඉගෙන ගත්තා පොත් බලලා. ඒ වැරෙන්න මම දන්නෙත් නෑනේ. right? මට මතකයි සමහර ඒවා. මම චූටි කාලේ මට හොඳට මතකයි අපිට තිබුණ ඕන තරම් කන්න දැනුත් තියෙනවා. හරිද? මම ඔක්කොම ඔයගොල්ලෝ හිනාවේ ඇයිස දැනුත් තියෙනවා කියලා ඕන තරම් පාරවල් දිගේ හේමන්ත් දිගේ apple grapes oranges තිබුණා. හැබැයි දැන් මට මතක නෑ ඒ කාලේ කොහොමද තිබුණේ කියලා. නමුත් දැනුත් ඉතින් ඕන තරම් පාරවල් දිගේ තියෙනවානේ. ඕනම තැනක. ඉතින් ඒවා අර අපේ තිබුණ ඒ දවස්වල තිබුණ positive trade account balance එක අපි utilize කළේ to import unnecessary things. දීලා අන්තිමේදී ඒක diminish වෙලා ගියා. දැන් උනම් බලන්න කොච්චර අපේ import කරලා පාරවල් දෙකේ විකුණනවද කියලා මේ red apple, green apple, Brazilian අර chili වල ගෙනාපු grapes කියයි, Chilean grapes කියයි, Brazilian grapes කියයි, Italian grapes කියයි. right? තියෙනවා. අවශ්‍ය දේවල්ද නෑ. මම මේ ඔයගලගේ ඔළුව වලට මේ questions ටික දානවා. එච්චරයි. Then services account. Services, transport, tourism, information technology, telecommunication, financial services, and other business services. Right? Primary income account. Primary income account can be interest, dividends, reinvested earnings. Right? Secondary income accounts, private transfers, worker remittances, government transfers. මේවා ඇයිලා secondary income accounts. එහා පැත්තෙන් ගත්තම trade account balance එක අපි කළා. current account balance එක කියන්නේ sum of all current transactions. Capital account, capital transfers. ගැන කතා කරනවා. ඊළඟ current and capital account balances. Current and capital account balances equals to current account balance plus capital account balance. Current and capital account balance කියලා කියන්නේ current account balance plus capital account balance of a BOP. Right? Calculation of current and capital balances. I have given some example with the values. It's easy for you to understand. And you spend about 2-3 minutes on going through. හොඳට ඔළුවට අරගෙන යන්න බාන්න කෙලින්ම goods exports 7,000, goods imports 9,000, services accounts net balance is 200. මේ ඔක්කොම ඇවිල්ලා plus. මේ ඔක්කොම ඇවිල්ලා plus. Right? එතන primary income account. Primary income account. ඒකේ net එකක් තියෙනවා. Within brackets කියන්නේ minus. Right? In red. Primary income account, secondary income account. Net එක secondary income account එකේ net එක කීයද විතර වෙන්නේ? ඒක ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා 1300. Secondary income account එකේ net එක 1300 plus. දැන් බලන්න current account balance එක කොහොමද අරන් තියෙන්නේ කියලා. Exports minus imports 7,000 minus 9,000 again minus 2,000. Right? Minus 2,000. Then plus services account net. Services account net taken 2,200. Right? Then plus primary income account. Primary income account. Primary income account එක minus යන්නේ. Right? ඊට පස්සේ secondary income account එක plus එන්නේ. එහෙම කළාම අර figures එක දැම්මාම final total එක එනවා -1,400 million, right? Accordingly, current account deficit US dollars million 1,400,000 sorry, 1,400 millions. 1,400 millions. 1,400 millions. Capital account balance එක 200 කියලා ගත්තොත් current account balance එක minus 1,400 අරක plus 200 එතකොට current and capital account balance එක කියන්නේ minus 1,200 figures වලින් ගත්තොත් major component of the financial account is typically major component of balance of payment, right? Then major component of financial accounts. One is direct investments, right? Equity and investment funds, shares, debt instruments, then portfolio investments, financial derivatives, other investments like currency and deposits, loans, trade credits and advances, other accounts receivable, payable, special drawings rights, etc. Other investments and reserve assets. Make us recent developments in balance of payment, current and capital. Puri figures තියලා චුට්ටක් study කරලා බලන්න. තමයි පස්සේ බලන්න පොඩ්ඩක් දැම්ම කළා නම් ලේසියි. මේකට time waste කරන්න නැහැ. ඔයාලා බලලා ඔළුවට ගන්න බලන්න figures ටික. Recent developments in balance of payment up to 2018 මම මේක දීලා තියෙනවා කොහොමද? මේක බැලුවට පස්සේ නිකන් it's like a wedding photo එකක් වගේ. Right? You get everything. මොනවාද අපිට වෙලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා රටේ wedding photo එක වගේ තමයි මේක. Balance of payment. Right? Overall balance equals to change in net international reserves, or right? Closing net international reserves minus opening international reserves. That is change in international reserves. Right? Closing balance minus opening balance. For example, gross official reserves කොහොමද අපි වෙලා තියෙන්නේ 2016 17 වලට වැඩි වුණා ආපහු 2018 වලට අඩු වුණා. Reserve related liabilities කොහොමද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? Net international reserves, right? කොහොමද වැඩි වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? Foreign investments, a person or an institution in a country buying financial assets, establishing new organizations, buying shares in existing organizations are included in the long term and short term. We have categorized. Long term can be foreign direct investments and treasury bonds and investments in sovereign bonds. Right? Sometimes foreign direct investments in our long term. Right? Now, even at that, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, treasury bonds or sovereign bonds issue. Short term investments, investments in stock exchange and investment in treasury bills. Those are short term ones. Economic importance of foreign investments, right? Economic importance of foreign investments, development in infrastructure facilities, economic importance of foreign investments. Foreign investments are development in infrastructure facilities. Investments in the infrastructure facilities, roads, highways, universities, then airports and develop ports develop financing sources of the current account deficit, technology transfer and non-debt creating capital flows. External reserves. Why hold external reserves? To use in an economic crisis. We should always hold external reserves. Why? To use it in an economic crisis like what is happening now. Right? To improve the resilience to external shocks. Make up a question whatever the external shocks, if we have a good external reserves, then we can hold on to it. Right? We can absorb those shocks and then continue our journey. ලංකාවගේ රටවල අද වෙනකොට අපිට එක්ස්ටර්නල් ෂොක් එක එනකොට අපිට හොඳටම හතර ගාතෙන් වැටෙන්න වදිනවා. මේ දැන් අපි වැටිගෙන යන්න හදන්නේ. right? අනික අපේ තියෙන ඒව හැටියට අපි කියන්නේ දැන් ඇමරිකාව වගේ රටවල් ඒවත් දැන් හිර වෙලානේ තියෙන්නේ. ඒවත් හිර වෙලා ඒවට ඩොනල්ඩ් ට්‍රම්ප් ස්නීස් කරනවා නම් කොරෝනා නෙමෙයි නැත්නම් ස්නීස් කරනවා නම් අපිට මෙහෙම මොකද වෙන්නේ? එයාගේ ඉකොනොමි එකේ එයා ස්නීස් කරනවා. කෙමුන් යනවා. එතකොට අපිට ඇමරිකාවට කෙමුන් යනකොට අපිට මොකද වෙන්නේ? අපිට තියෙන්නේ නියුමෝනියා. We are having pneumonia. ඔය වගේ තමයි සිටුේෂන් එක අපේ තියෙන්නේ. So if you are holding good external reserves, then we don't have to worry, right? To settle short-term liabilities, we have good external resource. We can settle our short-term liabilities. Then short-term, long-term, medium-term, අපි ඔක්කොම liabilities හැමදාම ඒකට එකක් මොකද වෙන්නේ? දැන් accumulate වෙවි යනවා. යාන්තම් කොවිඩ් ඉවරලා කොරෝනා wave 1 එකෙන් පස්සේ ඔලුව උස්සගෙන යන්න හැදුවා විතරයි දැන් වැදුනා wave 2 එක. wave 2 එක වැදුනට පස්සේ අපි එහෙමම ඉර වුණා. නැත්නම් Brandix වගේ companies after the first wave they came up like hell and they were exporting like hell to most of the major countries, right? Where India will බඩු ගන්න මිනිස්සු කැමති උන්නේ. Because of that, we had a very good market. all crash. Right? Then short-term liabilities given to curb excessive volatility in the exchange rate. Right? Again, I have given some external reserves of Sri Lanka, central bank figures, just to, you can see these things and then try to understand. Right? Try to understand. Adequacy of external resources, right? When you make the Sri Lanka's gross official reserves for 2018, imports coverage gross official reserves divided by total imports into term, number of months, right? Sri Lanka's gross official reserves for 2018 were equivalent to 3.7 months of imports. 3.7 months of imports. That was in 2018. By now, it has come down to 3. By now, it has come down to 3. So that means we are in a very precarious situation. We are on a volcano. We have the official reserves to do our imports for only 3 months. Right? Make about over the 2014 වලින් නම් බහලා තියෙන බැස්ම කොහමද කියලා. Imports coverage කොච්චර දෙවිලා තියෙන කියලා. 5.1 වලින් නම් 3.7 වෙනකන් අඩු වෙලා තියෙනවා. right? මෙන්න මේවා තමයි බලන්න ඕනේ අපි. ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකක් සියා ගන්නවද, ගවර්න්මන්ට් එක එලවනවද, ජෙමිසු කරලාද නැද්ද කියන එක බලන්න පුළුවන් හොඳ yardsticks. Right. CBS still presents the balance of payment in 2 parts. Part 1 is current account. Current account can be divided into 3 sections. Right? In balance of payment, current accounts can be divided into 3 sections. One is merchandise. Merchandise. Merchandise can be receipts and payment arising from the export and import of goods. Tangible or visible items are referred to as visible trade. Tangible or visible items. The net and invisible trade. Services is invisible trade. Right? Then the net of the receipts and payment for merchandise is called the balance of trade. The net of the receipts and payment for merchandise is called the balance of trade. Our balance of payment was always negative. Balance of trade, what do you think? Our balance of trade is in negative or positive? What do you think? Medium කල්පනා කරන්න ඕනේ නැති question එක මම ඇහුවේ. මේක බලන්න ඕනෙත් නෑ. උගන් නිකම්ම කටපාඩමෙන්ම කියන්න පුළුවන්. In red අපේ මලාට එන්නේ නෑ. Black pen එන්නේ නෑ. Always red because we are paying more to imports rather than getting money on exports, right? So balance of trade is always red. Then services. Services will begin invisible trade. Merchandise is visible trade. This is visible trade. Then second one is services. Invisible trade. Right? Receipts and payment arising from services. අපි මේක නම් ගොඩක් වෙලාට අපි shape එකේ services වලින් නම් අපි පොඩ්ඩක් red වෙ නැති වුණත් break event හරි අපි තියාගෙන යනවා. Then transfers. The third part is transfers. Transfers can be receipts and payments arising from transfers can inward and outward transfers. This includes both private and official transfers. Private and official transfers. What do you mean by transfers? In our receiving solely Lanka enable, even that also transfers, right? And sometimes we have to pay money out. We have to pay money out, and that's outward transfers. Outward transfers. මොනවද එන්නේ? Imports නෙමෙයි imports ගැන කතා කරන්න එපා. Other than the imports,
Foreign education fees.
foreign education, yes. ඊටත් වැඩිය පුතේ ලොකු ගණන් යනවා හැම අවුරුද්දකම.
Interest.
ඔව්. ඔයා හරි කවුද කතා කළේ?
Avishka.
ඈ?
Avishka.
Kavish. Right. Interest on borrowings. Loans තියෙනවා අපේ නේ. Massive. ඒවා interest ගෙවනවා කියන්නේ මේකත් අනිත් පැත්තටම යනවා අපි. Right? The capital account කියන්නේ receipts and payment resulting from the movement of capital, monetary and non-monetary. For example, investments and short-term and long-term capital, which includes both government and private items. Right? And කල්ලුත් කළා මේ අයිස්රක් මේක දාලා තියෙනවා. The balance of trade කියලා කියන්නේ if a country has exported more merchandise than it has imported, then the balance of trade is said to be favorable or in surplus. If a country has exported more merchandise than it has imported, then our balance of trade is favorable or in surplus. But unfortunately, we are not. On the other hand, if a country has imported more merchandise than it has exported, the balance of trade is said to be adverse or in deficit. However, the above is not a critical indicator since services and transfers could change the final results of surplus or adverse balance on a current account. And ඒකයි මෙතන importance එක තියෙන්නේ. ඔතන රේට් ගියාට මේ services and transfers වලින් අපිට පුළුවන් වුණොත් ගහගන්න. Then our current account will have a better balance, surplus, not a deficit. මේ දෙකෙන් පුළුවන් අපේ current account balance එක වැඩි කරගන්න. අපි central bank එක හැවෙන්සෙන් බලන්නේ ඔය තුනකින්ම අරගෙන කොහොමද අපි manage කරගෙන අරන් යන්නේ කියන්නේ. Right? Methods of rectifying a deficit in the current account and then in the capital account. Methods of rectifying the deficit in the current account and then in the capital account. Right? Export incentives and import control. Export incentives and import control. Naman kung dapat central bank kung dapat hadani. How they manage the current account. Current account එක favorable වෙන්න නම් මොකද්ද අපි වැඩි කරන්න ඕනේ? මොකද්ද අපි වැඩි කරන්න ඕනේ? Exports වැඩි කර ගන්න ඕන. Imports අඩු කර ගන්න ඕන. Exports වැඩි කරන්න නම් මොකද්ද අපි කරන්න ඕනේ? ඔනොතින් තමයි central bank එක එන්නේ. Exports වැඩි කර ගන්න නම් මොකද්ද අපි කරන්නේ? Central bank එක මොකද්ද කරන්න ඕනේ? මේ common sense එක යන්නේ මම ඉල්ලන්නේ
exports වලට favorable
වෙන
ප්‍රොඩක්ෂන් එක වැඩි කරන්න ඕනස country
එකේ productions වැඩි කර ගන්න ඕන. අපි මොනවද අපි දෙන්න ඕනේ? production නිකන් වැඩි කරන්න එකට වැඩි කරන්න බෑනේ පුතේ. දැන් ඔයා කොහොමද වැඩි කරන්නද? If you are the finance minister
facilities grant කරන්න ඕනස ඒ කියන්නේ facilities capitals
මොනවද අපිට දෙන වචනේ මොකද්ද? ඔගොල්ලෝ හරි අහිංසක ළමයි කට්ට නැහැ. කියලා මේ කට්ට නැහැ. හරි අහිංසක ළමයි. උත්තරය උතන තියෙනවා.
Incentives
දෙන්න ඕනේ. right? කියලා මේ කට්ට නැහැ. මේකදී අපල්ලා ටක් ගාලා උත්තර කෙලින්ම දෙන්නේ නැහැ. හරි අහිංසකයි මේ we have to give more incentives to exports. right? ඔක දුන්නා කෙනෙක්වත් නැහැ නේ ඒක ඇසේ කට්ටිය නෑ. 1970 වල මිසස් බණ්ඩාරනායකගේ ගවර්න්මන්ට් එක කාලේ ඒ 7 years තිබුණා up to 77. That was a period I always admire. Why? Not because of her. Some of the don't think I'm talking about politics, right? About politics gain නැතුව බෑ මේව කතා කරන්න. මම කියන්නේ පාඩම් නොකර යන්න ඕනේ. පාඩම් නොකර යන්න. එhmenan මේ history එක පොඩ්ඩක් ඔලුවට දා ගන්න ඕන. මේ not because Mrs. Bandaranaike was a genius. There were few Marxists and leftists in her government, like Dr. N.M. Perra, Dr. Colvin R. Silva, Mr. Philip Gunawardena, then on the leftist ටිකක් හිටියා, especially Colvin and N.M. N.M. Perra was the Minister of Finance, and N.M. Perra, I don't know whether you know, he's a doctor in N.M. Perra. He's a double doctor. Right? He's a double doctor. And he doctorates දෙකක් තියෙනවා N.M. Perra. London, University of London, some other London College of Economics, doctorates දෙකක් තියෙන මිනිස්සෙක්. They were leftists, but they had a plan. They gave export incentives. That was the era where I have started my banking career, right? In 73. එතකොට මට මතකයි මේගොල්ලෝ ගොඩක් incentives දුන්නා. අපි දැන් incentives කියන ඒවා අහලා තිබුණේ නැහැ එතකොට. even O level A level class එනකොට මම නම් ගොඩක් රටේ පත්තර කියවලා අපිට ටීවී නෑ. අපි පත්තර කියවලා ඔළුවට අරගෙන තියෙන්නේ. අපි ඔළුව හදාගෙන තිබුණේ. ඉතින් ඒකින්ද තමයි අපිට ඉගෙන ගන්න ලේසි වුණේ. ගොඩක් කියවන හින්දා. ඉතින් ඕකෙදි still I can remember Mr. N.M. Perra gave feeks. Another feeks කියන එකක් දුන්නා. Feeks. Foreign exchange earners something. Foreign exchange earners කියලා දානවා. හරි. දැන් එතකොට ෆික්ස් කියලා දෙයක් දුන්නාම ඒ කාලේ imports හරි අමාරුයි. Lot of restrictions. First he put certain restrictions. This is how they built up a nation, country, right? For Tuesdays and Fridays, no, you can't eat rice. Can you imagine? There was a time which we have gone through, right? Tuesdays and Fridays, no rice. You can't eat rice. කෑම කඩවල කෑම විකුණලා තිබුණොත් එහෙම බත් පැකට් කඩකාරයව කොන්ෆිස්ටිකේට් කරනවා. කඩේ වහනවා. දඩත් ගහනවා. එදාට ගන්නේ අල බතල මඤ්ඤොක්කා ඒව තමයි ගන්නෙ. ඒ දවස් දෙකේ අල බතල. අර ඉතුරු දවස් වල තමයි බත් කන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් කරනම් කොහොමද තියෙන්නේ? ප්‍රෙසිඩන්ට්ගේ කැලිත් නැහැ. right? ඊට පස්සේ ලංකාවෙම වවන්න ඕනේ. ලංකාවෙම වවලා ලංකාවෙම හදාගන්න. So the rice අපි import කළා. එතකොට we curtail the importation of rice. ඔම කරලා මේ exporters ට we gave export incentives. Export incentives දෙනකොට මේගොල්ලෝ දුන්නේ අර fees දුන්නාම fees දීලා නම් කොහොම Mr. N.M. Perra, you can do a lot of things. You can spend any way you want through these fees, right? If you want to get down some items from abroad without any restrictions, you can use your fees balance and import items, right? And හැමදාම exports වල ආව නම් 100,000 එකකින් අපි දු 5% 10% මේ ෆීක්ස් වලට එනවා. ෆීක්ස් කියලා අර කැලලක් හදලා පොඩි මේකත් තියන් ඉන්නවා. අරයට ලොකු බැලන්ස් එකක් දෙනවා. And if there's any imports, they can settle their imports through fees. Then again, it will be much easy. දැන් අපේ foreign currency counseling අපි pay කරන්නේ FCBU කියලා. නේද? FCBU වල අපි කරනවානේ. දැන් බලන්න කොච්චර control එකක්ද කියලා. කොච්චර ලොකු incentive එකක්ද කියලා. right? ඔය වගේ incentives දුන්නා. If you are settling your imports from fees, there were certain other facilities also they gave. Right? එතකොට exporters were encouraged to do more exports and enhance their fixed balance. Banks වලින් තමයි maintain කරන්නේ. ඒ banks වල balances maintain කරලා we had to send it to central bank. We had to send it to central bank. Unfortunately, there were a lot of frauds during that period. Banks වල ඉන්න අපේ අයියලා our central bank එකට යනකොට central bank එකට යන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා ඔය ලොකු frauds සෑහෙන කළා තුනා misuse frauds. Right? So method of import control by imposing higher tariff or duties. there are export incentives යන්නේ ඒ විදිහට. Import control කරන්න ඕන. Import control කරනකොට they impose higher tariff or duties restricting certain commodities. Like those days, rice, importing rice was restricted. Right? Then අපි කරනවා. Last year, we did. During the COVID wave 1, we did it. Restricting certain commodities. Right? Methods of incentives to the exporters, reduction of taxes, favorable terms of credit. Favorable terms of credit. Right? මේ ඔක්කොම කරගෙන ආපු ඒවා 1977 වලදී විනාශ වෙලා ගියා. There was a regime change. Mr. J.R. Jayawardena came into power, and the existing government of Mrs. Bandaranaike, she lost, and she got only 8 seats. ගිය පාර ඡන්දය වගේ වුණ 8 seats. ගිය පාර ඡන්දය UNP එකට එකක්වත් නැතුනේ. ඒ වගේ ඒකට 8 seats ආවේ. මොකද මිනිස්සුන්ට වුණේ අපේ ලංකාවේ මිනිස්සු අපිට සුමාන දවස් දෙකක් අලබතල මඤ්ඤක කන්න බෑ. මොන වැඩක්ද මේක? අපිට ඕන හොඳට කන්න. මිස්ටර් ජේ.ආර්. ජයවර්ධන පොරොන්දු වෙනවා මං කන්න දෙන ඕන තරම් කියලා. Right? දුන්නා. Then he introduces open economy. අපේ economy එකේ end බැහැරෙනවා. අරක අපි continue කළා නම් ඒ කාලේ why now we were in a different state. Right? හැබැයි අපේ ලංකාවේ මිනිස්සු කවදාකවත් දුක් විඳින්න කැමති නෑ. මේ දැන් කොවිඩ් කාලෙත් පුළුවන් තරම් ඕනේ ජීවත් වෙන්න පරිස්සම් වෙන්න නෙමෙයි කාලා මැරෙන්න හරි ගිහිල්ලා හොර කාලා පොලිමේ ඉඳලා මාළු ටික අරගෙන එළවලු ටික අරගෙන කාගල් සිගරට් හොර කාලා එන්න තමයි ඕනේ. අපි බඩ ගැන තමයි බලන්නේ. Monetary measures, interest rate adjustments. Any upward movements of the interest rate will stimulate savings. Also curtail the lending for consumption. Now what is happening now? Interest rate adjustments. අපි දැන් කරලා දෙන adjustments මොනවද? Can somebody tell me? Is it an upward movement of the interest rate? If it is upward movement of interest rate, what is going to happen? That will stimulate the savings. That will stimulate the savings. Savings stimulate කරාම මොකද වෙන්නේ? I can remember I have deposited certain money. I can't remember. මේ ළඟදී තමයි මට එටිකෙන. මගේ අන්තිමට මැච් වුණේ 5-year deposits දැම්මා 18.5 19 20% ඒ ගන්නට 5-year deposits දැම්මා අපි. මේ පෞගේ කාලේ when the rates have come down to 11% විතර එනකොටත් I was getting 19% interest. The 5-year deposit එකේ. change කරන්න නෑනේ. ඒතර මොකද වෙන්නේ? If the interest rates goes up, savings rate again, that will stimulate savings. Then what is going to happen to the country's economy? When you have more savings,
money movement reduces.
Money movement reduces. Cash flow එක transactions අඩු වෙනවා නේ? ඇයි? මිනිස්සු save කරනවා. Then they don't have money to spend. Purchasing power is coming down. Right? There's no money to spend. Otherwise, they'll go and buy unnecessary things. Now they don't go because good interest rate. Right? Now what is happening? මේ වෙනකොට දැන් අපිට රටට මොකද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? We need money. We need money circulation. It has to, money should circulate. Government එකටත් නැහැ. එතකොට මොකද මේගොල්ලෝ කළේ? Now they have reduced the interest rates. Interest rates අඩු කළාම savings rates දැන් කීයද? 2.5%, 3% savings rate. Now nobody wants to save. If they are not saving, what is going to happen? They are going to use that money to purchase things, right? Then the money will be in the market, right? And it is also curtail the lending for consumption. Open market operations. This is a deliberate selling or buying of treasury bills in the market by the government. Open market operations. OMO එක තමයි ගොඩක් අපි මේ කරන්නේ. Central Bank එක monetary measure එක control කරන එකක් තමයි. Whenever they need money, right? They buy the treasury bills, and if they think the money supply is more, it should reduce, then they sell treasury bills. So the people will go and buy treasury bills. දාලා අපේ සල්ලි අපේ central bank එකේ dump කරගන්න. Right? Then special deposits. The government requests commercial banks to place special deposits with CBSL, with or without interest. Right? This will reduce the capacity of commercial banks to create money. Right? Then මේකත් සැරෙන්සරේ වෙනවා. banks. The fiscal measures. The fiscal measures are carried out independent of the commercial banks and are more involved with government policies. Right? Fiscal measures more with government policies. Fiscal measures අපි කොහෙලාද අපි announce කරන්නේ government එක.
budget එක.
Budget එක වෙලාවේ. Very good. During the budget period, we announce the fiscal measures. Right? Methods of fiscal policies are budgetary methods through annual budget proposal. Annual budget proposal එකෙන් තමයි අපි fiscal methods, fiscal policies අපි announce කරලා ගන්නෙ. එතනදිත් අපි economy එක තමයි අපි we are trying to control the economy. Right? Then devaluation. Overvalue of the currency in terms of other currencies. Devaluation means overvalue of the currency in terms of other currencies. Exporters will get more LKR. Now what is happening is our LKR is now 180 there, 82 there.
187.
It's a regular.
Selling 187 with
Selling rate is 187.
Yes, last week it was 187. It's selling.
187. Oh my God, I'm out of banks. දැන් බලන්නෙත් නෑ අපි. එච්චර නැග්ගා. එතකොට ඒක selling rate එකට 187 ගියා. එතන buying ඇති 185 විතර වගේ. So rupee has devalued. We have devalued the rupee every day, right? And by doing that, exporters will get more LKR for their exports. But on the other hand, the importers have to pay more LKR for their imports, right? Devaluation. Income policy. Income policy. The aim of income policy is to contain all forms of income so that they do not rise more than the output of goods and services. Right? The aim of income policy is to contain all forms of income so that they do not rise more than the output of goods and services. The income policy can සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි government එකක් කරන්න අත ගහන්නේ නැහැ. අත ගහන්නේ නැහැ. income policies කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ සමහර රටවල් නම් කරනවා ලංකාව වගේ රටවල් අත ගහන්නවත් යන්නේ නැහැ. ගියොත් ආණ්ඩුව ඉවරයි. For example, if the government thinks people are getting more income from their jobs වල ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ salaries කපන්න යෝජනාවක් ආවොත් එහෙම කොහොමද? බැංකර්ස්ලට උඩට සල්ලි හම්බ වෙනවා ගොඩක් හම්බ වෙනවා. ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ annual bonuses ගොඩක් වැඩි. ඒකෙන්ද then now you are getting 80,000 a month, right? From 1st of January, your maximum salary should be 70,000. Your maximum salary should be 70,000, not more than that. What do you think about what's going to happen in a country? People will start rebel against the government. Then ගෝසාවල් තියෙයි. පාරේ බුදියගෙන ගිනි තියාගෙන ඔක්කොම වෙයි කොහොම දෙයක් වුණා. ඉතින් සමහර රටවල් කරනවා. කරලා ඒගොල්ලෝ රටේ එක ගොඩ එනවා. අපි කවදාකවත් අපි නම් ගොඩ එන්නේ නැහැ. ඕක අපිට ඕකත් තිබුණා 1970s වල ඒගොල්ලෝ ගියා salaries එහෙම වැඩි කලේ නැහැ වැඩි. salaries එහෙම වැඩි කලේ නැහැ. වැඩි කරන්නේ නැතුව ඒගොල්ලෝ සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ සිංහල වචනේ පටිතද කරගන්නේ කියලා කිව්වා. To tighten your belts. To tighten your belts. එතකොට when you tighten your belts, what is going to happen? Your tummy will get compact again. පොඩ්ඩක් කෑවත් ඇති අන්තං හිර වෙලානේ තියෙන්නේ. බඩවල ඇරලා දාලා පුරවන්න ඕනේ නැහනේ. එතකොට ඔහොම එන්න මේවා annual incomes අරනවා මේවා කියන අඩු කළා. ඒ policies ගෙනාවා. ඒකින්ද තමයි ආණ්ඩුව පෙරදිලා ගියේ. මිනිස්සු අවශ්‍යකනේ හිටියා ඡන්දයක් ආපු ගමන් අනිත් පැත්තට දුන්නා. ඕක තමයි වෙන්නේ. හැබැයි රට ගැන හිතන්නේ නැහැ. බඩ ගැන විතරයි හිතන්නේ. Interest rates. Increased deposit rates will result in the inward movement of short-term capital. Increased deposit rates will result in the inward movements of short-term capital. This will also reduce the value of domestic currency against the foreign currencies. Right? Increased deposit rates. Regulatory methods. Regulations in the outward movements of capital will result in rectifying a deficit in the balance of payment of a country. Right? Then investment incentives, the offer of incentives for investors. Another way to overcome a deficit in the balance of payment. Investment incentives. The offer of incentives for investors. අපි ලංකාවේ අපේ තියෙනවද central banking මේ කරලා මේ වගේ finance minister එකෙන් approve වෙච්ච program එකක් investment incentives for investors 1978 වල පටන් ගත්තා. මොකද්ද? ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඔක්කොම දන්න එක. මොකද ඒ ඕගනයිස් ඉන්ස්ටිටියුෂන් එක ලංකාවේ හරි පොපියුලර්. අරිෂෝ බ්‍රැන්ඩික්ස් මාස් වගේ ඒවත් ඒවට වැටෙනවා සමහරලාට. ඒකේ සමහර ඒරියාස් ඒ තවත් ඉන්වෙස්ටර්ස් ලංකාවට එනවනේ.
Is it BOI?
හරි පුතේ මොකද උත්තරේ?
BOI?
BOI Board of Investments, right? Board of Investments, correct answer, right? We give a lot of incentives for investors because in BOI normally any industry in Sri Lanka is governed by certain government regulations. Right? It's governed by central bank, exchange control, then governed by income tax, governed by import-export controller, governed by customs ordinance. ඔය හතරෙන් govern වෙනවාමයි. Right? Exchange control එකේ rates වලින් වෙනවා. Transfer rates, then foreign exchange rates, then you have to pay taxes. Whatever you are earning, on your earnings, you have to pay taxes, right? Then whatever you are importing to this country, you have to pay taxes, duty. Right? Import export controller. Import export controller controls, you know. Certain items you can't bring it to the country. Right? You can't freely bring it. Some are prohibited, like narcotics and arms and ammunition. But some are not freely imported. The BOI, when they started BOI, they said they are excluded from all those regulators. Excluded from all those regulators. Then they are not paying income tax. They get tax holidays. First 12 years, 15 years, 10 years, 5 years, according to the investment, they get tax holidays. Right? Then no import duty. Because of that, they bring all sort of things. Building එක හදන්න සිමෙන්ති වල ඉඳන්ම they can import cement on free of tax free, right? Tiles ඔක්කොම කියනවා. How many cars they import? Cars වල අරින්න බෑනේ අපිට. LC සරලා ඔක්කොම ගන්න BOI, yes. ගෙදර බල්ලා වෙට් සර්ජන් ගාවට එක්කෙන්න තව කාර් එකක් ගේනවා, එක කැබ් එකක් ගියාම තියාගන්න පුළුවන් BOI සල්ලි වලින්. ඒව තමයි BOI වල ඒකත් අපි අප්සෙට් උනේ. අපි ඔක ඉගෙන ගන්නවා වෙනම BOI එක කරද්දී. When you are doing trade, you should know about these things, right? They again investment incentives so investors to attract them, right? All the countries are doing this, especially Vietnam, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka countries, Taiwan. We do this, right? Okay, fine. Now I think I have covered this part. How central bank is effectively monitoring the international trade operations in Sri Lanka. අනිත්‍යව ගැන නෙමෙයි කතා කරන්නේ. මේ අද කතා කරලා ඔක්කොම ටික එකතු කරලා අපිට ඔයගලන්ට ඒක එකක් බලන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකම හොඳට අහගෙන හිටියා නම් හොඳට ඔළුවට ගත්තා නම් පාඩම් කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. common sense ලියන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි ඉතින් when you are reading papers, when you are reading other articles, when you are listening to business news in the TV, when you are watching TV news, එතකොට you have to do it in an analytical mind. If you attend to those things with an analytical mind, you can write good answers, right? Right. Almost 3:15. Can we take a small break of 10 minutes, right? I will also have a cup of tea and come back 10 minutes. And after coming back, last week also I couldn't do that particular part. Shall we continue our discussions on the questions, multiple MCQ? But we did up to MCQ 10, right? එතනින් ඉඳන් අපි ටිකක් කරමු. පුළුවන් තරම් කරමු අපි up to 5 o'clock වෙනකන් බලමු. එතින්දී මට පොඩ්ඩක් ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඒක මට fast යන්න පුළුවන්. අද සමහරට ඉවර කරගන්නත් පුළුවන් වේවි. This depends on your support. How you are going to support, right? ඒක බලලා මට කියන්න බන්න මේ කරපු නැති කට්ටිය ඉන්නවා නම් please do it now from number 10, right? අනිත් අය කරපු අය ඒක බොන්න අනිත් අය පොඩ්ඩක් කරලා ලෑස්ති වෙන්න, right? මොකද උත්තරය අරගෙන වැඩක් නැහැ. ඕගොල්ලෝ තමයි ඒක කරන්න ඕනේ. Then only you get the satisfaction. Okay, you can mark your own papers and see how much of marks you can score, right? Okay, let's come back in 10 minutes. Okay. Okay, what are there or still more to come? Right. Shall we start from 11, question number 11? But before that, I just want to discuss something with you regarding what's going to happen. Next few weeks will be very, very crucial, and appears that even next week is crucial. Sometimes even areas like Borel and all might go under curfew, but to avoid that, this week I'm trying a trial presentation from my home and to see how it goes. I mean, don't know whether there are any technical issues or anything. So I'll try to sort it out. And if it works smoothly, then I can do it from home. And you also can join from your respective homes, right? So there won't be any issues for us if that's the way. Otherwise, I won't be able to come to deliver the lecture. Anyway, after maximum 2 or 3 lectures, after that, there's no point of continuing this. There's no point of continuing this because I need you physically here to do the document checking exercises. Then only I can give you the exam, right? So anyway, once everything gets normalized, I'm not going to give you any time period when or those days, some people ask me, are we going to have the exams in November or December first week or December last week, or you had a lot of issues now? So I don't know. We can't look fixed to any time frame, but once everything gets normalized, we'll meet again for about 3 classes. During that period, we can do the document checking, and then we can do the what do you call this assessment also, and discuss any questions you want to clarify, and we can do some revision discussions also, and after that we will have the exam, right? So once everything get normalized, when we start the physical classes, within 1 month, I'm going to have the exam. Is it all right with you? But don't ask me when, right? Don't ask me when. Because otherwise, there's no point of continuing these lectures. After 2-3 lectures, I'm going to stop it. I'm going to stop it, and then we will inform you. Are you agree with that arrangement?
Okay, sir.
That's okay, no? Because only 1 or 2 classes we are conducting with I'm committed to do this with you. That's why I'm conducting, right? Most of the lecturers are not coming, right? We are taking a risk and coming. So that's why I'm trying to organize it from home. And this is how I'm doing for Kelly University. Kelly University, I will do it from home. And there's another one, corporate campus, I'm lecturing. That's also from home, right? So if it is from home, then we can do something. The other thing is, if you guys are more technology wise, you know better than me. Zoom sessions for 40 minutes or so, you can have it free without paying anything. So every now and then, for example, if commercial bank crowd wants to discuss something with me, if the entire crowd, 4 or 5, if you can get together at one place in the office or after office hours or something, if you can organize a Zoom meeting, if somebody can host a Zoom meeting, I also can join and we can discuss it, right? ඕන විදිහකට ඔයගොල්ලෝ මේ කරගන්න. ඒතර මම අපි මුණ බලන් හරි කතා කරනවා. ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ මොනවාට ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා නම් අපිට ඒක කතා කරගෙන යන්න පුළුවන්. ඔයගොල්ලෝ arrange කළොත් මම එන්න. මම join එන්න. Right? Okay. Okay. 11. Under a side documentary collection, for what reason is the buyer exposed to only minimal risk? For what reason is the buyer exposed to only minimal risk? A, because it needs only pay when it has received and reviewed the original shipping documents. B, because it needs only pay when it has reviewed the original shipping documents at the counters of the collecting bank. Because it needs only pay when it has reviewed the original shipping documents at the counters of the remitting bank. What is the correct answer? I hope you all are having the You all are having the papers with you, huh? ඔගලක තියෙනව නේද?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, fine. What is the correct answer? You're marked. Penny, what's the correct answer? Sachinta?
B.
What is that?
Answer B.
B, sir.
Answer is
B.
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 B. B. Second one.
Second one. Yes, that's the correct answer because it needs only pay when it has reviewed the original shipping documents at the counters of the collecting bank. Right? How many, can I ask you some question? How many people come to the bank and reviewing the documents? Trade guys, answer me. Collection documents. Are there any customers coming to the bank and requesting you to review the documents? Are your customers doing that? Tell me yes or no. ඔයාලා බැංක්ස් වල කස්ටමර්ස්ලා එහෙම එලා බලනවද?
No, sir.
ඈ? ඔව්ද නැද්ද?
No, sir.
No. Even when I saw this question only, the answer it came to my mind. Even this is not a practice here in Sri Lanka, no? But if they come, can you show them? If anybody wants to check, can they come to the bank and check it?
Yes.
Yes. Don't say no. Yes. Right? Yes. Today morning I got a question from one of my students in 2014 or 15 batch. I think 2014 batch. Right? From Bank of Ceylon. Today they are working and she asked me a question. That particular question I have subsequently given it as a assignment because that there was a ICC opinion on that. Right? At this point, I would like to put that question to you people. Can you give me that answer? Right? In a collection set of documents, collections, right? The collection order form, but the collecting bank has received. It says 60 days from site. 60 days from site. Right? And then the bill of exchange is they have attached a bill of exchange with the documents. There's a bill of exchange for 60 days site. Okay? And on the collection order form, in the down, it says release documents against payment only. Release documents against payment only. What is your opinion? On top it says,
You have to
yeah, tell me.
We have to process as DP.
You have to
Process as DP. DP. After payment only we can release the document.
sorry පුතේ මට clear නෑ වාගේ.
After receive the payment only we can release the document.
After receiving the payment, in that terms, what you are trying to tell me is you have to pay DP.
Yes.
අනම්මනතු කෙලිම කියනවනම් DP ද?
Oh, DP.
Yeah, to treat it as
නැත්නම් shift එකකින් confirmation එක ඕනේ. නැත්නම් shift එකකින් confirmation එක DA විදිහට ඕනේ. shift confirmation එකක් ගන්න ඕනේ banking.
Or else what you are suggesting is to go back to the remitting bank asking for clarification. ඒකද?
Oh, sir.
Right. Who is that? කවුද මට answer එක දුන්නේ?
Lasanti.
Lasanti. Okay, Lasanti. Thank you. Can somebody else add something? Is Lasanti is correct or not? The Lasanti dekak kiwa. දෙකම ගන්න බෑ. Hari. What Lasanti told me was, what you mentioned was, okay, immediately to take money and then pay, then release the documents, or else to go back. එකනේ කියන්නේ for clarification.
Oh, sir.
All right. Okay.
Oh, sir.
Any other solution? Any other solutions? Right.
So I think only by DP terms.
Only by DP terms.
Yeah, that's correct.
Only by DP terms. That is according to URC 522.
Article 7, I think, sir.
Huh?
I think Article 7.
Article 7, yes. URC 522, Article 7. If there's a confusion, to pay on DP terms. Right? Now, in this scenario, especially now these days with COVID-19 and all, and there was main document back or COVID-19 and all, people doesn't want to pay. People want to drag. Only on DP terms, we say give either. To give one name. Right? Hari, what's your name, Puda?
I'm Christy, sir.
Huh?
I'm Christy. Christy.
Sorry, Christy. Christy, as per the URC 522, you're correct. Now, what's the most, effective, practical way out? Okay, I'll give you some other clue. Merchandise is textile. Merchandise is textile. ඒ කියන්නේ perishable නෙමෙයි යා. දැන් මොකද කියන්නේ?
Since the merchandise is textile, we have time. That's not perishable, so we can afford to get the confirmation from the remitting bank.
From the remitting bank. Good. Who's that?
Isuru, sir.
Pardon?
Isuru.
හොඳයි ඉසුරුයි ලසන්ති දෙන්නම කිව්වේ එක ක්‍රිස්ටි හරි ක්‍රිස්ටිගේ පැත්තෙන් as per this thing, but we have to think about the practical side now, right? We have to help the customers these days. මේකයි practical scenario එකක් right දැන්ටත් තියෙන scenario එකක් මේට ගාග්ම කිට්ටුවෙන් තමයි මම question එකකුත් බලන් දීලා තිබුණේ right අපේ එතකොට දැන් මේකේ practical side එක මම කියන්නම් මේක ඇත්තටම වෙලා තියෙන්නේ the bank has gone back to those people remitting bank has gone back to remitting bank Chinese bank they have come back and say we have given correct instructions in our collection order. Please act according to the instructions in the collection order. Very blunt answer. Then අපිට තේරිච්ච නැති ඉඳන් අපි යන්නේ clarification එකකට නේද? දැන් අරගොල්ලෝ කියන්නේ පොල්ලෙන් ගෙහුවා වගේ කියනවා. We have already given. Do it accordingly. So what are we going to do? What are you going to do? මම මේක ඔයගොල්ලොත් එක්ක කතා කරන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඔක්කොම ගොඩක් කට්ටිය ට්‍රේඩ් කට්ටිය day to day you must be getting these type of things. Without when you are going to your managers for more clarifications එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔයගොල්ලෝ කරන වැඩේ confirmation එකකට ගන්න ඕන නම් if you are going to talk to your managers, the managers will be happy to work with bunch of people who not only bring the problem to them, who bring the problem with the answer. ඔගොල්ලෝ answer එක suggest කළාම කිව්වනම් තමයි හොඳ වගේ. right? දැන් ඔකේදී අපිට කියන්න ඕන එකක් තමයි මට හිතන විදිහට මම ඇහුවම හරියටම හරියි. ඔක අහපු විදිහට මම ඇහුවා කොහොමද අර clarification එක කළේ. හරි? එතකොට මේගොල්ලෝ කියනවා මේගොල්ලෝ ඇහුවේ these are you have given two different instructions please clarify. එතකොට අර විදිහට තමයි clarify කරන්නේ we have already given can't you understand English ඒ වගේ නොකිය කිව් එකක් දීලා තියෙනනේ right එහෙම කවදාවත් යන්න එපා මේවා clarifications යනකොට ඒ අපි යන question එකත් හරියටම specifically වෙන්න ඕන අපි අහන්න ඕනේ regarding this collection order your instructions are contradicting in two places contradicting in one place you said you have attached bill of exchange with 60 days DA 60 days DA right whereas another place you have asked us to pay only against payment. Sorry, to release documents only against payment. So this is contradicting. Please clarify the correct instructions. Or please give us the correct instructions. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලන්ට එන්නේ වෙනවා මේකින් කොයි එකද කියලා. අර වගේ ටිකක් ගාව නිකම්ම આવොත් මේ වෙනවා. right? එතින්දී ඒගොල්ලෝ කිව්වොත් එහෙම 60 days DA කියලා then you can go accordingly. Otherwise you have to pay at site. You have to pay at site. අර උත්තර ටික හරි ඔක්කොම අර question එක අහන විදිය තමයි පොඩ්ඩක් හරියට දාන්න වෙන්නේ. right? එහෙම නැත්නම් වෙන්නේ your instructions are ambiguous අන්න ඒ වගේ අපි කියන්නේ නෝ. අර පැත්ත මුලදීම ෆ්ලැට් කරලා ඉන්න ඕන. නිකම්ම අහන්න එපා. වර්ඩ් එක දීලා තමයි දැන් අර වගේ උත්තරයක් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ බ්ලන්ට් විදියට. අපි මෙහෙන් යනකොට අපි completely අර පැත්ත කපලා දාලා දාන්න ඕන. It's ambiguous. You can use that word. Right? ඒ වගේ දාලා තමයි question එක හල්ලු කරන්න ඕන. Right. Question number 12. Under which method of settlement is there a guarantee that payment will be made for an accepted draft? Under which method of settlement is there a guarantee that a payment will be made for an accepted draft? A, B or C? Crazy. Answer is? Payment guarantee එකක් දෙන්න මොකේද?
A.
A. Answer is A. අනිත් දෙකේම දෙන්නේ නැහැ. 13. In terms of the type, number and form of documents that will be received, the buyer has the same protection under an open account transaction as it does under a documentary credit. Is this statement true or false? Thirteen. What is the answer? Come on.
False.
Answer is false. Do we get a guarantee? Open account? Nah. Right? It's false. Number 14. It is possible for an issuing bank to also be an applicant. Is this statement true or false? It is possible for an issuing bank to also be an applicant. Issuing bank, an applicant issuing bank is opening the LC on behalf of an applicant. They open the LC on behalf of an applicant. So can they be the applicant, issuing bank?
Yes,
This
they
is
can.
statement true or false?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Answer is true. මම ඇරලා තියෙනවා. When I was at Standard Chartered Bank, I have opened LCs to import අපේ telephone banking machines ටික ගෙන්න අපේ ඇරියේ මම ඇරියේ. Applicant bank එකමයි. Right? වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Number 15. A documented credit is always advised by the use of Swift MT 700. Is this statement true or false?
True.
True.
Who says true?
It's false.
True kila kuwa. Samina, what do you think?
False.
False. Penny?
So මම තමයි true කිව්වේ.
Huh? What true කිව්වද? Right, okay.
ඔව් sir.
Then තව කවුද ඉන්නේ අපිට? බානුක? Christy, what do you think? කතා කරන කට්ටියන අපේ යාළුවෝ ටික. කතා කරන කට්ටිය විතරයි මගේ යාළුවෝ. Christy, what do you think?
I think false, sir.
You think it's false. Why? Why you say false? And actually true කිව්වනේ. කවුද true කිව්වේ? Penny. Right, Penny, tell me why you said true? මේක අපේ ක්ලාස් එකේ හිටියා නම් උතන ඩිස්කස් කරන්න තුන මේක. Why you said true? A document create is always advised by the use of Swift MT700.
I took it like say DC එක issue කරනකොට 700 amendment එකක් කරනකොට 707 ඒ වගේ free format කරනකොට 799 so I just took it like that's a DC එක I took the word DC documentary credit ඒක යන්නේ 700 කියලා තමයි මම ඒ basis එක තමයි මම ගත්තේ
ඒක හරියද Christy, why you said false? There should be some underline answer එකට තියෙන්න බෑ. Underline fact එකක්. Why you said false?
So I think it is as a advising bank, sir. When we directly advise to customer, we don't use the MT700 method, no, sir.
No. That is a different question. Right? Is this statement true? A document create is always advised by the use of Swift MT700. Whether advice can advise in banking and yeah?
So emails.
Oh, එතකොට මේ advice bank එක අපි මේ advice කරන්නේ MT700 එකේම. මේක කොහමද MT700 බය යන්න ඕනද?
මම දැන් transferable LC එකක් 720 ක් නේ. transferable LC සාවොත් 72 note එකක් එන්නේ.
ඒ ඔච්චර දුර යන්න එපා.
always advice
local LCs courier
local LCs different format එකේ that is not the 700
දැන් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ මේවට use කරලා නැහැ අපිට ඕන තරම් ඔය කළා what about mail LCs
so MT700 is used
local LCs
mail LCs අපි mail LCs කොච්චර අපි type කරලා යවනවද අනිත් රටවලට අපේ මේ MT700 ඉන්නේ මේ අපි දැන් sophisticated අපි right if the customer is insisting still we have to do it most of the African countries still they do it even now they are doing it right they use normal typed LCs ඊට පස්සේ ඒගොල්ලෝ mail එකේ එවනවා right so the answer is false number 16 an applicant is a party to a documented credit. Is this statement true or false?
False.
Yeah, answer is false. Make it a true. Number 17. Which of the following is true of a second advising bank? Which of the following is true of a second advising bank? A second advising bank is utilized by the advising bank to advise a credit to the beneficiary. A second advising bank is utilized by the advising bank to advise a credit to the beneficiary. A second advising bank is named in the credit to advise a credit to the beneficiary. See either of the above. What is the correct answer? A. Any other answers? C. Correct answer is C. Either of the above. The both cases, it can happen. Second advising bank is utilized by the advising bank to advise a credit to the beneficiary. A second advising bank is named in the credit to advise a credit to the beneficiary. අපි දානවා second advising bank is Bank of Ceylon කියලා. LC කියනවා Standard Chartered එකට. Right? දෙකම හරි. So either of the above. Answer is C. 18. Which of the following is not a form of honor? Which of the following is not a form of honor? Acceptance, deferred payment, negotiation, payment. The question එක.
C.
What is the meaning of honor? Honor means to pay at site if the credit is available by site payment. To incur deferred payment undertaking and pay at maturity if the credit is available by deferred payment. To accept a bill of exchange draft drawn by the beneficiary and pay at maturity if the credit is available by acceptance. Article 2. Okay, එහෙනම් මේකේ ආන්සර් එක මොකද්ද? මොකද ආන්සර් එක? A, B, C or D? Which of the following is not a form of honor?
C.
C. Correct. Correct. The correct answer is C. Negotiation. අනිත් ඔක්කොම honor කියන එකේ ඒ meaning එකේ දීලා තියෙනවා. C, article 2. Right? Okay. 19. An exporter sells goods overseas on FOB and CIF Incoterms, respectively. Who is responsible for the freight charges in each?
Answer A.
A, the B, the C, the D.
A.
A. Any other answers? Any other answers?
A.
Answer is A. A is correct. 20. Under FOB terms and UCP 600, a bill of lading would be required to state which of the following?
Answer C.
FOB, huh?
C.
FOB කවුද කවුද ගෙවන්න ඕනේ?
Import.
අපාය. එහෙනම් මොකක්ද අපි දාන ටර්ම් එක? A, B, C or D? ඔයගොල්ලෝ ගොඩක් කට්ටිය ආන්සර් එක කිව්වා. මොකක්ද ආන්සර් එක?
C.
C. Answer is C. Shipped on board and freight payable at destination. Shipped on board and freight payable at destination. ඒ D එක අපි ගත්ත ඇත්තේ. Receive for shipment එක තියෙන්නේ. And freight payable at destination. අරක හරිය තමයි shipped on board. Number 21 කීයද? Answer is
B.
B. Cost insurance rate. මේකේ C එකට මාක් කරපු ළමයිනුත් ඉන්නවා. Lazy. 22, what is the answer?
B.
Answer is, on whom does Incoterm EXW impose the least obligation? What is the answer? Huh?
B, sir.
B.
Answer is B. Say that. Twenty 23? What's the correct answer? Which of the following is true of the use of trade terms such as Incoterms 2010?
Answer A.
A. They determine the port or place at which title to the goods passes from seller to buyer. Title of goods, title to the goods passes from seller to the buyer. Make a hurry then.
B.
Where are the
Answer is B.
Then what's the correct answer?
B.
B. They determine the port of or place at which delivery of the goods is determined to have been made by the seller. Right? C. They determine the port or place at which the goods are to be clear customs. They determine the port or place at which the buyer is expected to make payment. Incoterms link answer is B. Answer is B. 24. Which of the following are potential risks faced by an applicant? They have given 3 risks, 4 risks. Potential risks faced by an applicant. Loss or damage to goods in transit, foreign exchange risk, failure of the issuing bank, fraud in the presented documents. What is the correct answer? Which of the following are potential risks faced by an applicant? Not exporter, applicant. කැලෙන් බලන්න මේක applicant potential risk එකක්ද කියලා.
A.
C.
A. එතන 4 එන්නේ නැද්ද? හා?
C.
4 වැරදිද? හතර හරියටම හරි. Fraud in the presented documents. ඒක වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකේ risk එක තියෙන applicant. The applicant might pay on a forged documents. එහෙනම් මොකක්ද answer එක?
C.
C. Correct answer is C. 25. Which of the following is not a component usually seen in a credit facility agreement or document? Credit facility document එක දකින්න නැත්තේ මොනවද? ඔයගොල්ලෝ හැම කෙනෙක්ම credit facility documents දැකලා ඇතිනේ. කියන්න බලන්න.
B.
B කියන්නේ දෙකද හතරද?
දෙක.
දෙක. Which of the following is not a component usually seen in a credit facility agreement? Representation and warranties. B.
C.
C. What's your name?
Penny.
Penny. Penny C. B කිව්වේ කවුද පුතේ?
Nimeshka.
Nimeshka. Right. Any other answers? Here we are talking about the credit facility letter. Credit facility agreement එක. මොකක්ද දෙන්නේ?
C.
C. Answer is C. මොකද ඒක තමයි types of documents that can be called for. ඒක අපි credit facility agreement එකේ එන්නේ නැහැ. Right? Okay. 26. When an applicant requests the presentation of a document such as an inspection or analysis certificate, what type of conditions should be expressed in the application form? What type of conditions should be expressed in the application form?
D.
Answer is
D.
D. D can හතරද?
Yes, sir. Oh.
Yes. Correct answer is D. Number 4. One of the above. 27. Which of the following is a way of describing what is meant by the autonomy of the documentary trade? Autonomy of the documentary trade. On the questions here, on the ඔළුව කැරකිලා යන questions නේද? ලේසි නෑ. මේ questions ඔළුව කැරකිලා යනවා.
Answer A.
Answer is A. Any other answers? Any other answers? No. The best description of autonomy of the documentary trade is A. A documentary trade is separate from the sales contract on which it is based. They have nothing to do, right? Documentary trade is a separate one, independent document, autonomy. 28. Which type of settlement is not appropriate? Is not appropriate.
Answer D.
2 or 4?
Negotiation.
Negotiation. Is that penny?
Samina.
Samina. Okay. Okay. Any other answers? Any other different answers? Any other different answers? Cool. But දැන් අනික් කට්ටක නම් කියව මට අහන්න වෙනවා. මොනවද ඔයගොල්ලෝ? ඔය 28 එක ඇවිල්ලා අපිට කලින් තිබුණ එක එහා පැත්තට කරකවලා අරන් තියෙන්නේ. What is the correct answer is D, negotiation. 29 මට උත්තර එනවා මදි. 29 මෙහෙරි ඔයගොල්ලෝ කළාද නැත්නම් දැන් කරනවද? දැන් කරලා මට කියන්න බෑ. 29 How many people have completed this? Right? එහෙම නැත්නම් මම question එක කිව්වම කරන්න බෑ ඉක්මනට විනාඩි දෙකකින් වගේ අපි 1 minute වගේ යන්නේ multiple choice කරනවා එතකොට කියන්න බෑ 29 It is available with nominated bank. Rate is available with nominated bank. Would not be appropriate. Would not be appropriate. I learned. ඔගොල්ලෝ කරලාද දින්නේ නැද්ද මේක? මං කියවනේ කරගෙන ඉන්නේ කියලා. කරගෙන ආවනම් මට දැන් උත්තරේ දෙන්න.
C.
A. Who said A?
C.
A. කිව්වේ කවුද කියන්නේ? හා? C කිව්වේ?
Lasanti.
හා?
Lasanti.
Lasanti. Please claim reimbursement from ZZ Bank, New York. For a documentary credit that is available with nominated bank by side payment, which of the following reimbursement conditions would not be appropriate? Would not be appropriate. C එක හරියද පුතේ? ඒක appropriate නේ. Please claim reimbursement from ZZ Bank, New York. කවුද කිව්වනේ ඒක? Please debit account held with you. කවුද කිව්වේ ඒක?
මම සර්.
Somebody, huh?
අවිෂ්ක.
Avishka. You said A. Please debit account held with you. එහෙම වෙනවද reimbursement conditions? Right? වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Please debit account held with you. අපි යවනවා නම් ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් චාර්ටර්ඩ් යවනවා නම් ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් චාර්ටර්ඩ් නිව්යෝක් වලට අපිට ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් චාර්ටර්ඩ් නිව්යෝක් they are maintaining their account with Standard Chartered New York. එතකොට අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් please debit account held with you කියලා. No issue. D එකත් දාන්න පුළුවන්. We will remit proceeds in accordance with your instructions upon receipt of a SWIFT message confirming that you have received a compliant presentation. Not be appropriate එක අහන්නේ. B, we will remit proceeds in accordance with the instructions upon receipt of compliant documents. දැන් අපි nominated bank එකක් දීලා තියෙනවා නම් then how can we say we will remit proceeds in accordance with the instructions upon receipt of compliant documents කියලා. එතකොට ඒක contradict වෙනවා නේ. එහෙනම් answer එක what is not be appropriate is answer B. B කියන්නේ දෙක.
සර් ඒකේ B එකයි D එකයි වෙනස.
Oh, B එකේ ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ we will remit proceeds in accordance with the instructions upon receipt of compliant documents. We will remit proceeds. We will remit proceeds කියලා මේ කවුද අපි මේ කියන්නේ? issuing bank එකේද කවුද? මේ instructions දීලා තියෙන කවුද? issuing bank එක නේද? මේ instructions යන්නේ issuing bank එකේනේ. මේ LC එකේනේ අපි ගහන්නේ. Am I correct or not? Issuing bank එක නේද මේ ගහන්නේ. We will remit proceeds කියලා. We will remit proceeds in accordance with the instructions upon receipt of compliant documents. Upon receipt of compliant documents. Right? එහෙමනම් මොකටද අපි මේ available with nominated bank දැම්මේ? දාතින්ද වෙන්නේ මේ අපිනේ ගෙවන්නේ. එතන ඒක nominated bank එකක් නෙමෙයි ඉන්නේ. Right? ඒක contradict වෙනවා. අනික D එක නේද? අනිත් එක we will remit proceeds in accordance with the instructions upon receipt of a SWIFT message confirming that you have received a compliant presentation. That's a different thing. Right? They have to confirm us that they have received a compliant presentation. Once they send us the SWIFT message that they have received a set of compliant documents, then we will remit immediately. We will remit the money immediately. We are reimbursing the money immediately. Right? That is that. But the B, we will remit proceeds in accordance with the instructions upon receipt of compliant documents. Make a nominated bank again, අපේ bank එකට documents ඇවිල්ලා ඒව අපි ඔක්කොම check කරලා ඉවර වෙලා තමයි අපි pay කරන්නේ. ඒකත් ඉවර කරලා තමයි අපි pay කරන්නේ. ඉතින් එහෙමනම් මෙතන reimbursement එකක් නැහැ නේ. නේද? reimbursement එකක් නැහැ. හරි නිකන් ඉෂුම් බැංක් එක සෙටල් කරනවා වගේ. එතකොට අපිට හරි උත්තරේ එන්නේ B. හරි උත්තරේ වෙන්නේ B. Not be appropriate. There must always be a gap of 21 calendar days between the latest shipment date and the expiry date. Is this statement true or false?
False.
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 It is false. It is false. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Hari? Silent ma hitiyo thamai 21 calendar days enne. Otherwise, not necessarily. $31 again.
Acceptance.
Answer is C. Acceptance. Good. 32. A credit facility will usually cover which of the following? The maximum amount that may be outstanding. හරිද වැරදිද? Credit facility එක තියෙන්න ඕන.
හරි.
ඒක හරි. ඒක නැත්තම් දැන් credit facility ගන්න නෑනේ. නේද? ඒක හරි. දෙවෙනි එක.
හරි.
The period for which the facility will be available.
හරි.
ඒකත් හරි. 3. Whether partial shipments or drawings may be allowed.
වැරදි.
Huh?
වැරදි.
ඒක වැරදි. අපි ඒව දාන්නේ credit facility එකේ. නේද? 4. The maximum usage period for any documentary credit.
හරි.
ඒක හරි. එහෙනම් මොකද උත්තරේ?
D.
Answer is B. Answer is B. B කියන්නේ 4. 1, 2 and 4. $33. But the correct answer. An amendment is subject to the consent of whom?
Beneficiary.
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 C.
A.
Who says A? Abdul Sandi got a ragna number paying any? Huh? A කියන කට්ටියකුත් හිටියා. B. C.
C.
C. Right. The correct answer is C. The issuing bank, the beneficiary, and any confirming bank. Confirming bank, if any. Right? $34. You'll be lucky and the man answering. $34, 35, 36, 37. Netika karana ban mang චූටි කෝල්ලයක් තියෙනවා මම ගන්නම් එතකන් මේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ කරන්න බලනවා ටික ඊට පස්සේ මම අහගෙන යනවා උත්තර ටික Right. What the answer is 34 or that? Which of the following is true of an amendment issued stating that it will be deemed to have been accepted by the beneficiary unless it rejects the amendment within 7 calendar days of its date? Which of the following is true of an amendment issued stating that it will be deemed to have been accepted by the beneficiary unless it rejects the amendment within 7 calendar days of its date? What is the answer?
D.
Answer is? Sorry, but Harita,
D. Fourth answer.
Fourth answer. Fourth answer. The inclusion of this condition is an acceptable practice if inserted by the confirming bank in its advice of the amendment and is a way of determining whether the beneficiary has accepted or rejected an amendment. D. Fourth answer. Any other answers? Any other answers? මේක තුනක තියෙනවා it is an acceptable practice කියලා.
Answer A.
ඒක තියෙනවා it is not an acceptable practice කියලා. Answer?
A.
A. Wrong. D. His fourth answer is wrong. The correct answer is B. Number 2. The inclusion of this condition is not acceptable, and it is not one of the ways determining whether the beneficiary has accepted or rejected an amendment. Right? Make a amendment එකක් අපි issue කරාම advising a credit and amendments, right? කොයිලාද අපි මේකලා මේව කරන්නේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් normally at what point we know whether there's a LC and 5 amendments. Out of 5 amendments, which amendment you are not taking, which amendments you are accepting කියලා එන්නේ මොන වෙලාවෙදිද?
Documents present කරද්දි.
Documents present කරලා negotiate කරද්දි. Only at that time, right? Normally, it is not a practice to include a sentence like this, that you have to accept it within 7 calendar days of this date. Otherwise, unless it is rejected. එහෙම නැත්නම් අපි කියනවා මේක accepted කියලා. එහෙම කියන්න බෑ. Right? The beneficiary has the prerogative, even at the last moment, whether to accept that amendment or not. Right? So the answer is B, not acceptable. 35, what is the correct answer? When is an issuing bank irrevocably bound by an amendment?
Answer B.
Answer B. Very good. Answer B. 36. An amendment decreases the value of a documented credit. When should the credit facility amount be reduced accordingly? An amendment decreases the value of a documented credit. When should the credit facility amount be reduced accordingly?
C.
C.
D.
C කියලා කිව්වා, D කියලා කිව්වා. කී දෙනෙක් C කියලා කියනවාද? When the beneficiary provides his consent to the amendment by way of a notification of acceptance. D. When the beneficiary provides the consent to the amendment by way of notification of acceptance or the presentation of documents that complies with the original documentary credit and the amendment. Do you have UCP 600 with you, guys? Right? ඔතන පොඩි note එකක් දාලා තියාගන්න. Refer article 10C. Refer article 10C. 10C එක බැලුවා නම් මේකේ උත්තරේ එනවා. Correct answer is D. Correct answer is D. Refer article 10C. 10C එක කියවට පස්සේ මේකට උත්තරේ 100% ඔයගොල්ලෝ ෂුවර් කරගන්න පුළුවන්. Correct answer is D. Right? ලේසිද මේ questions? නෑනේ. ලේසි නෑ. එක ළඟම යන්නේ. Right. Question number 37. If a second advising bank decides not to advise an amendment to the beneficiary, it must inform the issuing bank without delay Is this statement true or false?
True. True.
True.
Hmm? If a second advising bank decides not to advise an amendment to the beneficiary, it must inform the issuing bank without delay. Is this statement true or false? Again, I am asking, is it true or false? Who says true? Penny, what do you think? True or false?
True.
Huh? True. True.
True.
True. Christy, what do you think?
So is that false?
You think it is false. Why you think it is false?
So I think, sir, according to Article 9, sir, it says the advising bank should inform to the bank from which the credit it has been received.
Okay.
In this case, sir, second advising bank receiving the LC from the first advising bank. That's why I think it should inform to the first advising.
ඔයාපතේ පොට්ටේ ගහන්න යන්නේ ඈ. නේද? false කියලා කියන්නේ පොට්ටේ ගහන්න යන්නේ. If a second advising bank decide not to advise, එතකොට අපි කවුද මේ
So Article 9. Article 9F.
Article 9E එකනේ. Article 9E එකනේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ යන්නේ. If a bank requests to advise a credit or amendment but elects not to do so, it must so inform without delay the bank from which the credit amendment or advice has been received. එහෙනම් මට කියන්න බලන්න උත්තරේ. උත්තරේ උතන තියෙනවා. උතන ආටිකල් 9E. දැන් ඉතින් තවත් ඉතින් මොකක්ද ඕනේ? දැන් තියෙන ඉංග්‍රීසි පාර්ට් එකක් තියෙන්නේ. භාෂාව ප්‍රශ්නේ. නෑ නෑ භාෂාවක් නෙමෙයි. ඉංග්‍රීසි I'm so sorry මම ඕගලන්ගේ ඉංග්‍රීසි දැනුම අව탁සේරු කළා කියලා එහෙම නෙමෙයි. මේකේ මේ লীලා තියෙන එක හරියට තේරුම් ගන්න එකයි තියෙන්නේ. කොහටද මේ second advising bank එක advice කරන්න ඕනේ that they are not advising the LC කියන එක. If a bank requested to advise a credit or amendment but elects not to do so, it must so inform without delay the bank from which the credit amendment or advice has been received. So they have received The second advising bank have received the amendment from whom?
First advising.
First advising bank. So they have to advise the first advising bank without delay. But do they have to advise the issuing bank? Question එක මොකද්ද? It must inform the issuing bank without delay. Do they have to inform this first advising bank? May issuing bank? No. Because of it, it is false. They have to inform the first advising bank. First advising bank at the inform කරන්න. Because of that, it is false. Christy ගිහිල්ලා Christy කනාමුට්ටිය ගැහුවා. එන්ට හරියට ආවේ නැහැ.
No, sir, actually, I'm not a branch. I'm a branch staff, sir.
ඔය උත්තරේ ඔය එක්සෑම් එකට ගියා නම් ඔය ෂේප් නේ. එක්සෑම් එකේ ඔය true. Right? Okay. Okay. මම හිතනවා අපි දැන් 38 එකේ නවත්තමු කොහරි මේක මාක් කරගලා තියාගන්න අපි අනිත් දවසේ තව ටිකක් මේ කරද්දී අපි අනිත් දවසේ කරමු. අද ඇවිල්ලා 24th 10 හරි 38 වලින් ඉඳන් අපි කරමු. මේ questions are interesting. ලේසි නෑ. එක වගේ යන්නේ එක ළඟ යන්නේ. ඒකින්ද ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ මොලේ හොඳට හාරගෙන ඉගෙන ගන්න ඕන. Right? Okay. Then we'll call it a day today. And again, we'll meet next week. Right? And we'll see how it goes. And for God's sake, don't go and expose yourself to unnecessary places. Be safe at home. Right? Everybody. What happened to this thing? අන්තිමට මොකද්ද කිව්වේ? මාස අන්තිමට ගන්න දුන්නා නේ. හැබැයි මට එකක්වත් ආවේ නැහැ. බලමු කවද්ද එන්නේ කියලා. ඔයගොල්ලෝ කොහමද?
සර් ඒවා සබ්මිට් කරලා දෙන්නේ?
සබ්මිට් කරලා තියෙන්නේ.
ඔව් සර්.
ආයෙක සිස්ටම් එකට දාලා තියෙන්නේ.
ඔව් සර්.
ඔව්. යා.
හරි. එහෙනම් මම මේනකට කියන්නම් ඒ ටික. ඉතින් කළා මට දෙන්නේ කියලා. එහෙම නැත්නම් මට ඒක ඇක්සස් එක දුන්නා නම් මට බලන්න පුළුවන් සිස්ටම් එකෙන්ම. right එකම දේ මට මාක් කරගන්න විදියක් නැහැ. කොහොමද ඉතින් මාක් කළත් ඔයගලන්ට මට එන්නේ නැහනේ. papers මම පෙන්නන්නේ නැහනේ. මාක්ස් ටික දාලා තියාගන්න. හරි? අනිත් එකත් කළාට පස්සේ මම ඔයගලන්ට කියන්නම් ඔයගලන්ගේ මාක්ස් ටිකත් කොයි විදිහටද කියලා අපිට අතර බලා ගන්න පුළුවන්. right? හැබැයි මේක හැබැයි ෆයිනල් එක්සෑම් එකේ මාක්ස් දිනවද නැද්ද කියන එක මට ෂුවර් නැහැ. මම ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් බලන්න. anyway okay then have a nice weekend, safe weekend. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.